Greetings one and all. Super Sundays, literally, from the holy city, Elon Moreh, Shechem, a few minutes away from my holy yeshiva. We are on the 9th day of the month of Cheshvan, 5785. And after doing 6 classes on Christianity, it's good to get on to other topics. It was very, very important, and I thank God that I was able to do it. I don't think there was a class that took on that angle, in English at least, maybe not even in Hebrew. Okay, so we have today's class. It probably will be 2 or 3 parts. We always call it a different name, but the insiders know that it's really part 2 and perhaps 3. We will see. The title of this class has the Arizal revealed the secret time of redemption. Okay, put on a seatbelt. We're going to need it. It's a big title, so here we go. We know all over the world there are holidays, and then there's the hangover, the after the holiday blues. During the week we have the Monday, if you're in the States or other places, where you had 2 days off and all of a sudden you go back to work, you go back to your studies. So it's the Monday blues. But there's also a phenomena. It's been studied. It's been written up in different surveys. The after the holiday blues. So in Judaism, the after the holiday blues, when do they begin? Well, if you ask somebody that's in the know, in the loop, they'll tell you it begins after Simchat Torah, after Sukkot. And then you have to go back to your regular schedule, the family, the friends, the special prayers are no longer, and you go back to routine. And that change is difficult. In fact, it tells us in the Talmud that we're not allowed, the rabbis are not allowed to obligate a fast for the public, a public fast on Sundays, because after Shabbat, when a person ate 3 meals, some people, they eat 4 meals, one after the Shabbat. So to shock your body and go from 3 or 4 meals to fasting is not good for the system. You know, imagine like you're driving, you're in 5th gear, and then in one swift shot you put it into 1st gear. Not very good for the engine. Okay, so this is thanking God for this material, this divine material. This is really amazing stuff, and I thank Hashem for allowing me to see this unbelievable information that we will, God willing, give over. The holy Arizal, he lived from 1534 to 1572. 38 years old when he passed away. Amazing how much he did. He revealed a tremendous secret that had been passed down from generation to generation with the special, the insiders, the righteous of the righteous knew this secret, and he was privy to receive this himself whatever his reasons were. Once again, this is 452 years ago. He passed away 452 years ago. He decided that there was a necessity to reveal this secret divine message. And here's what he says. The high holiday period continues not only till after Sukkot, it continues until the holiday of Hanukkah. What? Yeah, it's one continuous circle. The high holidays from Rosh Hashanah continuing Yom Kippur, continuing Sukkot, continuing Simchat Torah, continuing Hanukkah, and there closes the cycle, thus closing the cycle. This idea is brought down in dozens and dozens, literally, of books, mostly by Hasidic rabbis or by the Sephardic communities that bring down this secret revealed by the Arizal. But if you thought that's an amazing, that, wow, I didn't realize that the holidays are continuing. Yes, we're right in the middle, in the midst of the holidays. We can't get into any holiday after the holiday blues because we're not after the holidays. We're in the midst. But if that's not enough, in the mid-1700s lived a very, very special Hasidic Rebbe. His name was Rabbi Avram Yoshua Heschel. I know it's a lot of names to digest. From the city of Aphta. Many know him only as the Ohev Yisrael. That is a book that he wrote. And he is called, on the book that he wrote, he was one of the masters from the Hasidic Rebbes. And some 250 years ago, so we have the Arizal 452 years ago, now 250 years moving up, he takes it one step further. He reveals more of this secret. And it is really earth-shattering. Now it depends. Some people have asked me, Yehuda, I looked up a source and I didn't find it. Well, let me tell you the reason why. Because many of the books have been reprinted, or many of the books have various editions. So I could say it's on page 250, and I didn't pull that out of the hat, especially since I don't have a hat, but it's on page 250. It just depends which edition you have. So, depending on which edition you have, if you look in the portion in Genesis of the portion of Vayeshev on page 62. In some editions, it appears on page 60. The After Rebbe says points out an amazing idea. There are 70 days between the holiday of Sukkot and Hanukkah. Now, it doesn't really matter where you start. You could start the first day of Sukkot on the 15th of Tishrei, and the first day of Hanukkah, the 25th of Kislev. You got 70 right there. You could also do the last day of Sukkot and the last day of Hanukkah, since both holidays are 8 days. So it doesn't matter where we start here. Between Sukkot, beginning, end, and Hanukkah, there are 70 days. What's the importance of this? Importance is amazing. That this is connected to the 70 bulls that the Jewish people would bring on the holiday of Sukkot on behalf of the 70 nations. During the time of after Noah, when the Tower of Babylon was built, the nations, we are told, were split into 70 languages, 70 nations. Today, if you go to the UN, if you look at the UN, you'll see there are more. Once again, there are many that are connected to one another, and they're just for various reasons they separated or announced their independence. But there is a connection between many of the nations who are really considered to be one group. So this is an amazing idea. Just like on Sukkot, holiday of the tabernacles, we have 70 bulls, which represent the decline of the domination of the nations of the world over the Jewish people. The first day of Sukkot, we bring 13 bulls. Second day, declining to 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7. Till the final day of Sukkot, we bring 7 bulls. If you do the counting, 13 plus 12, etc., you'll come up with 70. Hope you don't need a calculator for that. So comes the after Rabbi, and he says an amazing idea, that after Sukkot until Hanukkah, there is another similar period of 70. This time we have 70 days. They are connected with the 70 bulls. Thus, as each day passes between Sukkot and Hanukkah, the control, the domination of the nations of the world over the Jewish people diminishes one level until on Hanukkah we have the victory of the Jewish people over the nations. So we do not have any time to get into the after holiday blues, because we just ain't after the holidays. We're right in the middle, in the midst. The Rebbe takes it one step further. If you, after Sukkot, if you count 63 days, you will come to the first day of Hanukkah. What's special about that? He says the following, that there is a special holy name of God, that this holy name of God, the numerical value of the name equals 63. If we take God's name and divide it up by letters, we have the first letter is Yud. That could be written, Yud could be written with a Yud and then a Vav and then a Dalet. And then after the first letter of God's name, we have, of course, the second letter, which is a Hey. Hey, we spell, if we want to spell out the word Hey, we have a Hey, and then the letter Yud. The next letter of God's name is a Vav. Vav, we spell it, the letter Vav, then the letter Aleph, and then the letter Vav. And again, the last letter of God's holy name, Hey, is spelled Hey, and then the letter Yud. If we add up, if we count all these letters which make up God's name, it comes to the numerical value of 63. Check it out. You might need a calculator for that one. So, this special name of God, written in such a manner as we spelled it out, is a special name of control of the Jewish people over the world. And the opposite is true also. The After Rebbe brings down that if we look in King David's Psalms, chapter 53, verse 4, everyone is dross. Together they have become depraved. There is no doer of good. There is not even one. The word used to express this pollution is represented by the nations of the world is Sag. Samech Gimel, 63 numerical value. Amazing. So on one hand, the 63rd day after Sukkot is the first day of Hanukkah. And of course, the last day of Hanukkah is the 70th day between Sukkot and Hanukkah, representing the decline, defeat of the nations of the world, of the 70 nations of the world, climaxing in the victory of the Jewish people over the nations. The 63 represents victory of the Jewish people. The 63, the word Sag, which represents the nations of the world and their downfall. Well, if you're still sitting, you really listen to this a couple of times. Really divine information here, thank God. Now we can understand. Now we can understand another piece of the Talmud in the tractate of Shabbat, page 21. There is a dispute between Beit Hillel, the house of Hillel, and the house of Shammai. How do we light candles? According to Beit Hillel, we go up in holiness. We go from strength to strength. So therefore we go first day 1, building ourselves up, 2, 3. Amazingly, the house of Shammai takes a totally different approach. First day, 8 candles. Second day, 7 candles. Third day, 6, etc. The commentators pull out the hair in their heads, trying to figure out what is going on with Beit Shammai. We have a simple concept. We go up in holiness. We go from strength to strength. What is this 876? So Beit Shammai says in the Talmud, I'll tell you what it is. I go according to the bulls of Sukkot, on Sukkot. And the commentators are losing their minds. Beit Shammai, time out on the court. We are in the holiday of Hanukkah. What in the world are you bringing us up? History of Sukkot. That was 70 days ago. What's going down? Beit Shammai says, take it easy. Take a deep breath. I haven't lost it at all. There is a connection between the holiday of Hanukkah and the holiday of Sukkot. So therefore, just like on Sukkot, we see the decline of the nations of the world. First day, 13 bulls. Second day, 12, 11. So too on Hanukkah, we see the final defeat of the nations and their decline through a 70-day period. When we come to Hanukkah, Beit Shammai wants to stress what is going on in the spiritual realms. And therefore, just like Hanukkah, we go on a decline, so too the candles represent the decline of the nations of the world. Darkness, sending them into darkness, and the light of the Jewish people arising. Whoa. But if you think that the holy after Rabbi is finished, not so fast. He quotes a verse in Genesis, portion of Noah, chapter 8, verse 5. I translate, the waters were continuously diminishing until the 10th month. In the 10th month, on the first day of the month, the tops of the mountains became visible. Why is the Rebbe bringing down this verse from Noah? We know, we are taught by the sages that water, when we see water in the Torah, water, the majority of our body, the majority of the world is water. The majority of people are the nations of the world. A minority is the Jewish people. So we are told in Bamidbar Rabbah, chapter 2, paragraph 16, that the nations of the world represent, when the Torah talks about water, it's representing the nations of the world who are many, who are billions. So we are told an amazing revelation of a secret by the after Rabbi, that the 10th month, when is that? 10th month, wow, that is the end. That is the end of Hanukkah. It is Tevet. The waters, i.e., read, the nations were continuously diminishing. As we said, there's a 70-day period here. From Sukkot until Hanukkah, we're continuously diminishing until the 10th month. And in the 10th month, the tops of the mountains became visible. We know also there is a principle. We were taught by the sages that our forefathers and mothers were called mountains. We know we lift up our eyes until the mountains. That also represents when we're able to see, when, so to speak, we're able to connect up with Hashem. So this is an amazing idea connected to the downfall of the nations taking place from Sukkot until the peak, which is Hanukkah, which is the end of Hanuka. Moving right along. To summarize, so far, 452 years ago, the holy Arizal, revealed some of the secret that the holiday period continues. From Sukkot, it continues until Hanukkah. After, 200 years later, Rabbi Avraham Yoshua Heschel, the Ohev Yisrael, reveals a few more layers of this tremendous divine secret of redemption, and tells us that there is an exact period. Just like on Sukkot, we have 70 bulls representing the 70 nations in a decline. So too, between Sukkot and Hanukkah, we have a 70-day period, each day bringing another dimension of decline of the domination of the nations over the people of Israel, until we reach the revolution, the change of guard, which happens on Hanukkah. So, it is brought down in the Jewish law book, the Torah, Orach Chaim, on chapter 490. The Torah brings in the name of the High Gaon. Okay, not as like High Gaon, but that was his name, High Gaon. So this is going way back. We have a tradition from the Geonim that the war between the 70 nations and the Jewish people will take place during Sukkot. And therefore we understand now why we read the after the Torah reading, we read from the prophets. The prophet Ezekiel, we read about the war and fall of Gog uMagog. So there we have a tradition brought down from the days of High Gaon. So too, just like on Sukkot, there is the battle. It is the most opportune time. Doesn't mean that it has to happen, but it's the most opportune time on Sukkot for the war to go down between the 70 nations and the Jewish people, and the Jewish people to be victorious around Sukkot time. So too now with this new divine information, so too this is a tremendous opportunity to bring the final redemption, the final battle of the Jewish people against Gog uMagog, Armageddon, 70 nations, between Sukkot and especially during the days of Hanukkah. Whoa! What an opportunity we have been given. Question is, will we take advantage by making changes? First, all changes, they say, the Chinese say, all journeys start with one step, which is true. Doesn't matter how far you're going, but it always starts with one step. So too, change begins with us, not my neighbor, not my friends. It begins with me looking in the mirror. What do I have to do? What do I have to change? And then, of course, we have influence. Can we influence people to make the changes? And then there's a national level. There are many, many layers to this. But this is such an exciting time. And this is unbelievable information that has been brought down and revealed by the great ones, the Arizal and Rabbi Yoshua of Afta. Now, this amazing idea that we just brought down has to bring some questions in our mind. So we have 4 questions here. I know it sounds like Passover, and we're connecting here Sukkot to Hanukkah, I hope. My idea here is not to connect it to Passover, but I know we have the 4 questions. Question number 1. Timeout. Yehuda. Isn't it very nice? I understand. It's very interesting. Beit Shammai, how he lights the candles, and when he was approached, he says, I go according to what happened on Sukkot with the bulls representing the nations. This too represents the downfall of the nations. Got it. Very beautiful. But we know that we follow according to the school of Hillel. In fact, we have sources that if you follow Beit Shammai, you are chayav mita. You might be responsible for your actions to receive punishment of death penalty. So this is serious. Second question. Another timeout. Tevet, we get what it says in the portion of Noah. Got it. Very interesting how the waters represent the nations and the water. Got it. Beautiful. They diminish. Got it. The mountains, God, the forefathers, the Jewish people begin to ascend. Got it. But still, isn't Tevet the climax, the peak of their downfall at the beginning of Tevet? But isn't Tevet a month of sorrow for the Jewish people? I mean, we do have a public fast on the 10th day of Tevet. Third question. Doesn't the Talmud mention that the idea behind bringing the 70 bulls on the holiday of Sukkot, it represents the benefit. This is to benefit the nations of the world, to have some kind of atonement for them. So what's this deal about this is their grand finale? This is their, that's all, folks. This is their finishing. It seems like the opposite is true. It was for their benefit, the 70 bulls. It's not something derogatory, negative. Question number 4. Are there any sources? Yalla, let's get real. Of course, it's been real the whole way. But for those of us, okay, I hear all of this, but I want some real proof. Is there any proof that the holiday, when we look and investigate the holiday of Hanukkah, we see that there's a tremendous connection. During the holiday of Hanukkah, we see a tremendous reference to the holiday of Sukkot. Do we have any facts on the ground that could show us, wow, I never realized, I never looked at it in that manner. There is a real base connection between the two holidays of Sukkot and Hanukkah. So those are the 4 questions. Does it really matter what Beit Shammai says? The law is according to Beit Hillel. Number 2, isn't the month of Tevet a thumbs down month for the Jewish people? Not a thumbs up. Number 3, 70 bulls, that wasn't for the benefit of the nations and not their downfall. And number 4, do we have any facts on the ground that show and prove that Hanukkah has many references in it to the holiday of Sukkot? Okay, so let's take it, as we said, let's take it one step at a time. We'll try to hit the, at least begin the first question, the answer. Okay. Now, the Talmud in the tractate of Shabbat, page 21, side B, we quoted it before, when we spoke about the dispute between the house of Shammai and the house of Hillel. There's a sage, an Amora, that brings down, his name was Rabbi Bar Chana. He brings a story. A story that happened where there were 2 elderly fellows in the town of, I think in English we say Sidon, Sidon. In Hebrew, it's in Lebanon. When I was younger and in the army, I merited to be around that area of Lebanon. In the first Lebanon War. One second here. Okay, I never go around, almost never go around with a cell phone. I forgot to take it out of my pocket. Okay. Brings down Rabbi Bar Chana, he brings down a story about 2 elderly people in Lebanon. One of them lit candles like Beit Hillel, 1, 2, 3. And the other elderly person, he lit candles 8, 7, 6. He went down. The Shlah HaKadosh, Rabbi Horowitz, in his book, Shnei Luchot HaBrit, you could find it in the subject matter. It's called the written law, Son Yosef, on the portion of the week of in Genesis of Vayeshev, page 252. The Shlah HaKadosh is baffled, amazed. Isn't the law like Hillel? Why is the Talmud giving us a story which allows a person, seemingly allows us to choose? Do we want to go the Beit Hillel route, 1, 2, 3, 4, going up? Do we want to go down and do 8, 7, 6? This is unusual. After the Shlah writes very deep secrets, he throws in one for us regular people. Here's what he says towards the end. Once again, he brings in a lot of spiritual reasons why the Talmud expresses the way that Beit Shammai lit candles according to secrets of Torah. But then he brings down the following idea. Just like on the 8th day of Sukkot, the last day, Shmini Atzeret, Israel is alone. No longer are there 70 representatives of the nations. If we look at the sacrifice brought on the 8th day, Shmini Atzeret, we see the numbers are all one. One cow, one ram. There are no more 70 bulls, 13, 12, 11. No. There is now one, representing the people of Israel. So too, on the last day of Hanukkah, we remain, according to Beit Shammai, with one candle. All the representatives of the nations are no longer in control, are no longer have any power. And who knows how many are left, how many righteous Gentiles will be left. But that's beyond the scope of our talk. This is an amazing idea. The Shla connects the holiday of Sukkot through the understanding of Shammai, where just like on the 8th day of Sukkot, there is only the people of Israel left alone, no longer the dominion of the 70 nations. So too on Hanukkah, on the last day, remain just the Jewish people alone. Taking this a step further, we have the Jewish law commentator called the Richter. Amazingly, instead of telling us we go according to Hillel and just bring down the opinion or bring both opinions, but say we go according to Hillel, no. He brings down both opinions and does not dictate which one was accepted as law. There's nothing decisive about his words. He brings both possibilities, Hillel and Shammai. Whoa! The Ritva, also a Jewish law commentator on the Talmud. He says the following: though we are obligated to follow the school of Hillel when it comes to law, here, when it comes to Hanukkah, how to light candles, this is not a Jewish law dispute. This is a dispute on enhancing the commandment. How do we enhance the commandment of candles on Hanukkah? Beit Hillel says in order to beautify the commandment, we go 1, 2, building up. Wow, on the last night, beautiful, 8 candles lit. No, Shammai say if you want to enhance, if you want to beautify the commandment, you go 8, 7. Last night, just the Jewish people left to dominate. Therefore, because it is not a dispute in Jewish law, but in beautifying the commandment, one can choose to go according to Beit Hillel or Beit Shammai. The Chafetz Chaim in the Mishnah Brura, he brings down this idea. He talks about, wow, you know, it seems like there's a possibility to do one of 2 ways. But then his last line is, even though he sees this possibility, however, because no one brought this down as Jewish law, then he can't say that this is the understanding which we have the choice. Because according to the words of the Chavetz Chaim, now this is interesting because we just saw the Ritva that said it black and white, that you do have the choice. And we also saw the Rif. So, once again, the Chavetz Chaim, he passed away in 1933. Good question. What would he say if we brought up those Jewish law commentators? Okay, anyways, we're going to hold it. Don't touch that dial. With God's help, we will be back next week. Take care.